Alright, guys. So, we finished the book, Homesteading from Scratch. Now we're going to start with the one of the magazines, Homestead Living. This one's pretty cool. The writers, some of the writers are featuring Joe Salatin, Carolyn Thomas, Melissa K. Norris, Lisa Bass, Ann Briggs, and many more. Learn everything from gardening and raising animals to herbal remedies and living off grid. Okay. It starts out with a, from the editor article. I'm not going to go through that. Alright, so this article is called Homesteading on the New Frontier, and it's by Rory, R-O-R-Y, Feek, F-E-E-K. So here we go. There's the picture. It appears to be successful. And here we go. Let me start by saying I'm writing this article on February 13th, 2023, the morning after the Super Bowl. I have no idea who won. I'm not really even sure who played. Someone said it was going to be the Chiefs and the Eagles, but I know nothing about those teams or actually any football teams. Not a single player, not a coach, not a thing. And that's me. I have no idea where the game was held or what time, and honestly, I couldn't care less. Again, that's me. Years ago, I decided that watching professional sports at home or anywhere else, honestly, was adding nothing helpful to my life. Amen to that. I turned it off, and in the decade or so that has followed, I haven't missed it in the least. And so last night, as millions of people all over America gathered and sat glued to their smart TVs for the big game, we had our own Super Bowl Sunday here at home. Of course, ours would have been spelled out Super, S-O-U-P-E-R, bowl. Or better described as a super bowl of soup. It certainly was amazing. This morning, I'm still thinking about it. It was that good. Thankfully, we made enough for lunch today, so we'll enjoy our Super Bowl Sunday on Monday, too. A month or so back, some dear friends, Todd and Stacy Phillips, brought dinner and ate with us here at the farmhouse. Stacy had been telling us about her homemade potato bacon soup with croutons for a while, and I have to tell you, finishing 2 bowls that night, it was one of the best meals I've had in a long, long time. Needless to say, I asked for the recipe. And last night, as the world got ready for the annual ritual of putting on their favorite team jerseys, tailgate grilling, and beer drinking, which I read recently consumers spend nearly $20 billion a year on, it seemed only right for us to celebrate the big day here at our place, too. Alright, I'm trying to enjoy a nice little cool, healthy treat. These are strawberry popsicles made from, real strawberries. With the outshine bars. We like those. As we sat quietly eating our bowls of soup, talking about our day and about Indy's upcoming birthday. She's turning 9 this Friday, and she is so excited. I couldn't help but think about our American obsession with sports and with the Super Bowl and why my life has taken a different path in the last decade or two. I could try to tell you that because I don't care for sports or that I dislike how much money the key players are being paid or half a dozen other potential reasons why I'm not into it anymore. But the truth is, it all comes down to one thing. Homesteading. It even pulls in the people that used to be into the football. Yep, watch out. Homesteading is a slippery slope. If you're anything like me, you'll come to realize that dropping seeds into your new little garden plot and bringing home those cute baby chicks from the tractor supply are only the first small changes that homesteading is bound to bring into your life. More on that in a minute, but first, back to football. Let me say that there was a time when I did watch football, a lot. Monday night football was a regular routine at my house, like it is for most Americans today. I grew up as a boy in the 70s watching the Cowboys, Rodgers, Staubach, and Steelers, Terry Bradshaw on our family TV console. Blech. I spent my afternoons with my brothers and friends battling out big games in our backyards, collecting football cards and idolizing many of those players. Years later, after getting out of the service, when I lived in Texas for a few years in the early 90s, I became especially enamored with the Dallas Cowboys during their dynasty run. It was an incredibly exciting era for those of us who lived in the Lone Star State at the time. But in the years that followed, as I moved to Nashville and then to the farm we live on now, my interest waned and I watched less and less. The truth is I've gotten older and begun asking questions like, what does this have to do with anything that truly matters? Not just for football or sports, but for everything in my life. I began to have a harder and harder time making sense of taking part in it. And by the early 2000s, the TV was gone from our home and life, and so was professional sports. Whew. Trying to eat it before it melts. It is really hot in here. And that's with our air conditioner on. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, sorry, guys. Alright. Joey and I had recently married by then, and although she would have been fine with me watching a game or two now and then, she wouldn't have admitted a husband who spent most of his weekends or evenings sitting in front of a TV. She wouldn't have admired a husband who spent most of his weekends or evenings sitting in front of a TV. So as we settle, we have these stupid flies that are biting. And they won't leave me alone. So as we settled more and more into what would become our life here at the farm, giving loads of our precious time to television and mindless sports or entertainment made less and less sense to me, to both of us. Those were our early days of homesteading. On 6 acres, we had a big garden each summer, and Joey had cans dozens of jars of pickles, beans, and tomatoes, and froze corn by the bushel. We kept a small flock of egg layers and processed 20 or so meat birds each year for the freezer. Sorry, this fly's irritating me. Now we rotationally graze cows for beef and have freezers full of pork and other things we raise here on the 100 acres that our farm has grown to. We even host a huge homestead festival at our farm each June where we bring in dozens of speakers. Thousands of folks fill our backfields to learn not only how to grow their own food, but how to grow a life filled with meaning and purpose. But the more time I spend in the homesteading space of 2023, the more I find myself rethinking what homesteading is today. I think about what building a more sustainable life is and will become in the new millennium. I've come to the conclusion that homesteading today is probably less about the soil and the food we grow and more about all the choices we make with regard to our health and family and community. Homesteading is about questioning and ultimately getting off the fast-moving train. Sorry. You know there's not a damn thing you can do. Oof. The fast-moving train that has us barreling toward an uncertain future. It's about planting a flag in our minds and making the often unpopular choice in today's culture to decide that enough is enough. It's about deciding the life you want for yourself and your family to live and then taking the necessary actions to bring it into existence. It isn't just about taking responsibility. It isn't just about taking responsibility for where our food comes from. It's about taking responsibility for our lives and for the well-being of ourselves, our families, and our communities. Homesteading today is about seeing the big picture and how everything is interrelated. It encompasses the use and responsibility we have for technology and recognizing the fast food culture we live in today. It's about pushing back against culture's insatiable bent toward ease and comfort, toward speed and cheapness. It's about choosing what is better for us, for all of us. My friend and mentor Joel Salatin once told me, once you start to question where your food comes from, you begin to question everything. And that is true.
Now let's get close together. Anthony, hold your head.
Oh, I'm hot. And he was right. Joey and I began to think differently about our food and how we might participate differently in growing, harvesting, and cooking the meals we eat. It wasn't long before we began to think differently about the education of our kids and about health, entertainment, and ultimately about community. Oh, my nose.
I'm ready now. Close. Worth every step.
It's as if out of a deep slumber your eyes begin to open. At first, just a little bit, but then little by little they open wider and wider. And you begin to see the world and everything in it in new ways. And quite often, it is shocking. You find yourself in the same places you've always been, but for the first time you see the world anew. At least it was that way for me. And that's how it has been for me, too. Once I really started, looking into food and where it comes from and what's in it. And sorry, you guys, I'm hot. We're hanging out clothes. And, just everything else. And, just the things that they're teaching us and or trying to teach people. And, well, not even that, I guess. Things that they're trying to push over onto our country. And just, yeah. And most of our country is a pushover. One day you'll be having dinner at a restaurant with your family and realize that there are 15 big screen TVs and every wall filled with the latest sports and news. Almost every man, woman, and child there is sitting ostensibly eating together, but silently staring aimlessly at the TV, never saying a word to each other, and even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to hear each other anyway. You'll think, why haven't I noticed this before? Perhaps you will eat out at restaurants a bit less and cook at home more often. Another day you finish pumping gas at Love's or the Quick Mart and go in to pay. And as you stand in line, you look around and realize that there's not a single healthy thing in there. Pretty much every single thing on every single rack, especially food or snack-wise, is there to only appeal to our lower selves, to the part of us that craves sugar, caffeine, and junk. And I can attest to that because of Easy Mart. It's as if there is no conscience to help the buyers be better people. They want us to be unhealthy. And that is true. They want everyone sick. They want everyone unhealthy. They want everyone hooked on their prescription drugs. Mindless. Basically, mindless zombies is what they want everyone to be. Or more likely, they want our money at whatever cost, and you'll be dumbfounded. You'll begin to think, I don't know that I want to buy gas here, or participate in what's happening all around me. Or you'll be shopping at Kroger like you've done hundreds of times and look up and suddenly realize that as far as you can see, almost every single person in there is 50 to 100 pounds overweight. Just about every cashier, deli worker, and bagger, along with every customer. And it's shocking. And you'll think to yourself, how have I not noticed this before? Chances are, if you are homesteading, you will see these things because you have begun to look at your own life. You've taken a look at your own waistline and health and decided to take personal responsibility for it. And that's what I've started doing. Nowadays, we all have GPS apps on our smartphones and are able to get anywhere without even thinking about it. Our devices will show us the quickest way to get where we are headed, route us around traffic, and even verbally tell us turn-by-turn directions. But as powerful as that little tool is, sooner or later in many of our homesteading journeys, it's going to be hard not to ask the question of whether this tool is good for us or not. And I don't think it is, to be honest. But some people need GPS. I've come to realize that most of us have no idea how to get anywhere anymore without our phones. Dang it. Stupid biting flies. I gotta get some of those fly strips. And more than that, we have no idea where we actually are in relation to other places in the big picture of a map. Even though our GPS will tell us you are here and you can see it on the screen, the device can't actually help us be present where we are. Our minds are freed up to be in other places thinking about other things. This robs us of the ability to know where we actually are in relation to the world and our communities, and it hinders our ability to be present in meaningful ways. Homesteading will make you begin to question Amazon and Wayfair and whether having whatever we want delivered to our doorstep in a day or two is good for us. Yes, it's easier to buy and have more, but honestly, the bigger question is, do we really need more? For most of us who are homesteading, the answer most often is no. These are just a few of the many, many eye-opening dilemmas that homesteading today tends to provoke. While your dilemmas may differ from mine or someone else's, chances are homesteading will lead you to question most of the cultural norms that people are living by today. I'd like to end by saying that almost all of this actually comes down to just a few simple questions that will surface once we begin homesteading. Is this good for me? Is it good for my family? Is it good for my community and for the earth and for the world? Of course, it isn't only homesteaders who are asking these questions, but homesteading has a tendency to lead us to understand the big picture. We begin to see the interconnected nature of things and find ourselves thinking, oh my goodness, I never even considered that before. At first, these kinds of questions will begin to wreak havoc on the life you have been living. But in time, these questions will begin to lead you toward a life that is much more fulfilling and meaningful than the ones most of us have been living. I know it's changed my life for the better 1,000 times over. And, it was beginning to do that, with growing food in Michigan. But unfortunately, we had the other situations going on that made it to where we had to move, so. All right. Hang on, guys. Okay, sorry. It's clear that we are all living at a pace today that no one in the history of the world has ever had to do before. And to say that we're not prepared for it is also an understatement. We are all part of a great experiment, hundreds of millions of people of all ages for the first time in eternity having access to anything and everything, and everyone in every place, at every moment of every day. I think our bodies are feeling it. We are collapsing under the weight of it all, emotionally and physically. It's showing itself in anxiety, fear, depression, and even suicide at an epidemic scale. Almost every single family, neighbor, or person that I know is suffering from one or more of these conditions right now, and that is very true. Most of them are on some medication to combat the onslaught of despair that only seems to be getting worse in our culture. And prescription drugs are never the answer. I'm sorry, they're just not. They only make things worse. The farmer and poet Wendell Berry says, It's no wonder we feel anxiety. We are supposed to. It's our bodies telling us that something is wrong. Perhaps our response shouldn't be to take a pill to make the anxious feelings go away. Instead, we may need to look inward and upward to find the true answers. We need to solve the problems that we've created for ourselves. Now, like everyone else, I have no clue how to fix all these problems, or even if it's possible to completely repair them on a global scale. For me, the answer is to find my own answer, to think seriously about my life and what health is for my family and the community around me. My goal is to do the things I need to do to make my world a better place. I truly believe the best thing I can do to positively affect the larger world is to take responsibility for my own life, and that's what we're doing. And as well, like along with faith first, to reach out to other people and help other people too. Part of that is what leads me to what I'm doing now, disconnecting from the internet to connect deeper with the things and people in my life that matter most to me. I'm currently 7 months into a full year with no World Wide Web, no Google, no YouTube, no Amazon, no GPS, no digital connection to the outside world at all except for a flip phone for making calls. And I would love to do that. However, I do have the YouTube channel, and I'm going to be working online eventually, so it's not really an option for me. To say that the last 7 months have been profound for me is an understatement. I think until we take a deliberate break from it, we have no idea how much time we waste on the things that we've been told are going to save us incredible amounts of time. That is true. It's fairly easy for me to see that we humans have truly become the tool of the tools. Surprisingly, cutting the cord to the outside world hasn't been as difficult as I thought it would be. The good so far has outweighed the bad 100 times to 1. I don't want to rip it. I'm not sure what will change when this year is over, but I know that I'll have a better understanding of how complicated the web and all that it brings to our lives is, and hopefully be better equipped to make good decisions for me and my family in the future. As homesteaders today, we still need to know how to grow more nourishing food for our families. But I can't help but think that for most of us, it isn't about finding an unsettled piece of land, planting our flag in the ground, and building a life. It's about planting a flag in our lives and deciding to go against most of the culture, choosing to take a path to a more sustainable life. The new frontier, in my opinion, is in our hearts and minds. Rory Feek is a songwriter, filmmaker, and best-selling author. He and his wife Joey toured the world and sold nearly 1 million records before her untimely passing in March of 2016. He now lives with his daughter Indy outside Nashville and seeks to live a simple and healthy life. Okay, so that was Homesteading on the New Frontier. And what he's talking about homesteading, like that new frontier today being in our hearts and in our minds and what we choose, and about choosing a better lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle. It all goes along with adapting to that homesteading mindset. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will get that up here, and actually really tempted to let Chloe put the intro on this one. Very tempted to do that. I might. I want to, but I don't at the same time because she's not here. So I kind of just want to put the videos up. Hot.
No, thank you.
I'm debating, you guys. I think maybe I will go ahead and have Chloe put the intro on this one, since it's something new. So I will go ahead and write this one down. And I probably just have her do it tonight. She's been home and cooled off and that kind of thing. Anyway, I will go ahead and get the title on this then, and I will have Chloe put the intro on it. I will definitely get it uploaded tonight. And I will see you guys in the next video. Remember to always check your subscriptions. Make sure that YouTube is not unsubscribing you. Make sure your notification bell is checked, and make sure you click on all so you get all the notifications. And I will see you guys in a while. Bye, guys.